If there is one thing that we keep learning from the market, it's that the little details matter. This week we are looking at a $7 million Ferrari and, I don't know, maybe a $7,000 Maserati. But they'll all tell us the same thing. It's that knowledge pays. This is Bid Nerds. The bidding starts right now. All right, welcome everybody. This is a show, right? My name is John Polnik. We're coming to you live from the Container Park in downtown Las Vegas. On the far side of the screen over there, we got Michael Deeb in San Francisco at the Deeb Spec Warehouse, and in the middle from New Orleans, joining us also at the Deeb Spec Warehouse is our good friend Chris Carbine. How are you guys?
Hey, welcome, Chris.
We're doing great. Thank you for having me.
All right,
Chris and Ann did a whole California coastal tour, and they're capping off their little holiday by being in studio and staying at our house in Marin County. Ann is currently live in the green room right now. She's watching on YouTube. So big shout out to Ann and Chris for making it up here in time to do the podcast. JP, this should be fun.
All right, well, let's get right to it. We've been learning a lot from the market. And we've always been saying this. We've been saying this for years. Details always matter, but it really seems like the knowledge of those little details is really starting to pay off more than ever. And I think that some of the results from the cars that we talked about on the last episode will bear that out. So let's get to learning from those listings. What was the first car we looked at on the last episode? Michael D., what do we got?
All right, JP, we are going to circle right back to the 1988 Porsche 911 Turbo Coupe M505 Slantnose that was listed on PCar Market out of Girard, Pennsylvania. JP, it was really interesting because I had misread the first sentence, and I had come to believe when I first saw this car that it was not a factory-built 505, but what they would call kind of like a customer car, where somebody would have had a 911 Turbo and either sent it back to Porsche or sent it to their local dealer and had the slant nose package added to the car after the fact. After rereading the listing and taking a closer look at the COA that accompanies this listing, it appears that this car was in fact born an M505 package car, thus making it more valuable. JP, our car shows 76,000 miles, but according to PCar Market, that is true mileage unknown. The car looks pretty spectacular in Grand Prix white with kind of a can red leather interior. And M505s, let's face it, JP, have been on the rise over the last handful of years. So despite not knowing the true mileage of the car, but learning that this car was a factory optioned car and not a package car that was built later after it had been originally delivered, I thought that this car should do pretty well with the platform notwithstanding. JP, our friends at Classic.com tell us that the slant nose coupes that are born that way are now bringing on average close to $214,000. That's an average price. JP, I thought our car had a chance to hammer for $150,500. You took the under by about $14,000, coming in at $135,911. And Gary Lee had joined us last episode in studio with JP. Gary's very diplomatic bid, splitting the Bid Nerds, coming in at $145,930. So Chris Carbine, I know you know these cars pretty well. I know you know the other platforms really well. Here we have a very interesting car with a tiny bit of mystery, but not enough to hold it back terribly. We have what I would consider a very poor presentation of the car, and then we're running this very niche car on PCar Market. So Chris Carbine, what do you think of the factory slant nose, and what do you think this car would have hammered for on PCar Market with cell phone photos?
I would have to say somewhere in the ballpark. Let's just say 145.
145. So that puts him right at Gary's number. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it wasn't a super nice example of one.
I think it's decent. It didn't look bad or beat up to me, but I thought the presentation was poor. I didn't like the chrome wheels. Whatever, we can nitpick it. What I want to ask you, Chris, as we continue to put you on the spot, is if the car hammers at your number at $145,000, is that enough to get it sold?
I would say no.
And that would be an interesting take. JP, our car performed better than any of the four of us experts thought by hammering at $155,750. That came after 55 bids have been made. But the big news is, JP, is that it sold at that number. And you've got it at 156. Let me reread this thing, JP. Let me look at the listing. 156 it sold after. Yeah, there you go.
While you're looking at that, okay, so here's the thing. These are a factory Slantnose should be a $300,000 to $400,000 car. This particular listing, if you recall when we were talking about this on the last episode, the reason why most of us were kind of poo-pooing it was because of the platform. PCar market just usually doesn't get it done. And this particular car, terrible presentation. On top of that, this is a TMU car. If you look a little bit more closely, which I did after the show on the last episode, this car, it looks like it might need a reseal. The guy was talking about how he didn't have time to do a leak down test that people were asking him for. He said, like, literally, he was like, yeah, I replaced the turbo, but I can't remember if I did a K27 or a 3 LTDZ. I mean, it was like all these kind of weird answers, but honestly, he was being honest, which is something you don't expect for PCar market. And on top of his honesty in answering the questions truthfully, he flat out said, I don't know. How nice, how refreshing is that when someone says, I don't know, instead of make something up. He also had reasonable expectations, and he let this car go for a number that actually made sense. If someone got this car, cleaned it up, got all the records together, figured everything out, and presented this car well on a better platform like BAT, do either of you think this car doesn't break $250,000?
Yeah, and by that rationale, JP, I'm going to say well bought, because even if he spends $30,000 on the reseal, you're in it at 180, 185,000 or whatever the case may be. This should be a $230,000 to $250,000 car. Yeah. So at 156 on the ground, no matter what it needs, unless it's been frame damage, I'd say that's pretty well bought. Just reading the tea leaves. Chris, what do you think at 156,000 sold?
I think somebody can take that car and put the Fuchs back black and clean that car up, and you're right, it's a 250 car.
Well, and that's what I'm saying at the top of the show, all right? Knowledge is king here. If you know what you're looking at and you can see through the mud, which is the case on sorry guys, which is the case on PCar market so often. Look, having a little knowledge, knowing what the car actually should be worth, and deciphering and sifting through all that crap, you can make a lot of money, and I think someone is going to, or at the very least get a great car that they can sort out and enjoy for a long time. All right, it would have been nice if some of these great super chats had come in last week. Maybe one of us could have afforded to buy this car. Gary Lee throwing a super chat at us. Thank you very much, Gary. And then we've got M6 dude. He was going to come down tonight, but at the last minute he had some other stuff. M6 dude, thanks man. Thanks for the super chat. We love you. And look, Mrs. Carbine in the other room throwing down because Chris is on TV. So thank you.
Greenbacks from the green room, JP. Doesn't get
very nice work. We need to call that the high limit room now. All right, guys. What can we learn from more listings that we looked at the last episode before we get to new predictions? What do we got on the list, Deep?
All right, JP, you had selected for us one of the more interesting lots in a while. Feast your eyes on a 1955 Austin-Healey 100 BN1 Roadster. Looks pretty cool and kind of hot roddish with that raked windscreen and some very cool American wheels. But wait, JP, there's more. Instead of a fragile 3-liter inline-six, this car is powered by a 302 Ford V8 and a 3-speed C4 automatic transmission with a narrowed 9-inch rear end. JP, this car probably still kicks, but it's a bummer it doesn't have a manual. And this is one of the more interesting hot rods I've seen in a while. I'm digging this car, especially on the California black plate, especially as it's running on Bring a Trailer out of Meadow Vista, California, running no reserve and looking resplendent in matte black, almost primer spec paint job. JP, our friends at classic.com remind us that if they had left the original engine and transmission in it and didn't spray paint it black, this car would be worth on average $83,000. But JP, I thought this car would be lucky to ring the bell at $19,550. I turned out to be the low man on the totem pole as JP came in at 25 grand and Gary Lee at 21.5. Chris Carbine, your thoughts on an Austin-Healey with a Detroit motor and an automatic gearbox?
I didn't pay any attention to this thing, but it looks like a damn weapon.
Yeah.
I I would, I gotta believe anything's worth 30 grand, right?
Yeah.
A
30 grand's
weapon
a
or
good bid.
something that will kill you. It's this is definitely
And it will
a
kill
car
you.
that's going to cause some genuine pain in a lot of ways. Deeb, what did this thing bring?
Carbine almost got a Yahtzee because this car hammered for a massive $30,500 where it sold on 33 bids. JP, I can't help but think that this guy's got more than 30 grand into this thing. So I'm going to say well bought,
Yeah, I mean this is a really neat car. I absolutely freaking love the way this car looks, and I was actually hoping to get a shot at it. You were really down on the idea that it was going to close on Friday before the holiday, and I know that's why your bid was so low. I don't know. It seems if you pay attention to the low rent kind of replica car market like I do, like, the 550s, the 356s, the Cobras, those are all going for 50 grand, give or take 10 grand. And you got something like this car, it kind of fits in that world, but it's not a replica. I mean, yeah, it's got a weird, powertrain, but this car really, there is something special here. I was hoping that if it did go as low as you were predicting it would go, that I'd be able to buy the thing and drive it home and maybe throw a 5-speed in it or something. Even Anthony from Hoursmiths was all over on my phone going, hey man, I've got a transmission 20 miles from where this car is in a warehouse. We can go there and, my dad's got some tools and we could fix it up. It's like, the only problem with that is that never works ever. Projects are always a heartache. They're always 3 to 10x more than you anticipated them being. So I definitely lost. I got cold feet really fast, especially when it started getting up above in the mid to high 20s. I agree with Deeb, though. I do still think that was well bought. All right, what else can we learn from cars on the last episode? What's the next one on the list, Deeb?
All right, JP, file this one under the deja vu listings. For the third bite of an apple is this 1991 Porsche 911 Carrera 2 Targa. This car ran twice this year on PCar Market and takes its third bow to the public with the same assets that it last ran with on PCar, this time on Bring a Trailer. Listed for sale by the people who built it, Red Square Design out of Miami Beach, Florida. Our car is now showing 51,000 kilometers. It has, and that's on a replacement odometer, so we don't really know what the actual mileage is. The car has its 3.6 liter engine rebuilt to 3.8 liters, 5-speed manual transmission, and it's been repainted in what they call apricot beige, but my partner knows the real name of this color. It is hearing aid skin tone.
Let's get the numbers, Deeb. We've talked about this car way too much. What happened this time?
C2 Targa is back again. JP, our friends at Classic remind us that these cars should bring 91,000. Last time the high bid was 167. It was in the deal tank for 230. I thought it would get to 167. You said 180, and Gary said 175. Our car hammered again at that number, 166, where it failed to sell on 26 bids. JP, this car is so totally burnt now. I just don't understand what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, they've completely blown their brand out. I mean, they screwed up in every way. Starting on PCar Market, having a weird car to begin with. I mean, a 3.8 is a great car. We've talked about all that stuff. But this car is just like, man, when you want this $250,000 for your cars, you better do it with something that doesn't look like medical equipment. This car is as fried as a fried egg on Las Vegas Boulevard right now. It's 110 degrees out there. All right, let's move on. What else we got, Deeb?
That's it, JP. Let's we had covered this Maserati, JP. We covered this 1989 Maserati 228 with a 5-speed manual as an alumni listing on Bring a Trailer. But JP, this car doesn't close until tomorrow, and not much has happened since we last looked at it. Showing 58,000 miles. The car is still languishing at $3,800, and it's going to hammer tomorrow.
We'll talk about the results of that one on Wednesday.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we are going to get to predictions. We've got some really cool cars to talk about tonight. Guys, I know a lot of times you skip over the commercial because it's a commercial, but we have a new commercial to premiere. Check it out. Car nerds! Every collector car has a story. The question is, will buyers hear it? At Bid Nerds, we don't just photograph collector cars, we represent them. Auction management from beginning to end. From first impressions to final payment. From first photograph to the final handshake. From the first click to the final bid. Because every detail matters. Every comment matters. Every bid matters. Great cars deserve great representation. Bid Nerds, a happy ending for every auction. That is right. It is a happy ending for every auction. And if you're considering having the big nerds represent your car, don't wait. We can have your car listed in very quickly. So just reach out to Bid Nerds at bidnerds.biz. Yes. We will represent your shit. All right. What do you guys think of that?
We'll have it in very quickly.
That is correct. All right. Let's get after it. We've got amazing cars tonight. This first one, I kind of teased at the beginning of the show that this is a $7 million Ferrari. I could be off by a lot on that one. What am I talking about, Michael Deeb?
All right, JP, believe it or not, our friends at Bring a Trailer are celebrating their 250,000th lot. And to do so, they trusted perhaps one of their best sellers, one of their top 2 or 3 best sellers, the fine folks at 1600 Veloce out of North Salem, New York, get to have this very coveted spot by listing none other than the Holy Grail, the 1985 Ferrari 288 GTO. JP, spectacular car to choose for a really spectacular lot and placement. And obviously this car is going to pick up a ton of marketing as Bring a Trailer reaches this kind of historic milestone. JP, they built about 272 Ferrari 288 GTOs were built in 1984 and 1985. This car is believed to be one of the first 200 examples built. The car now shows 23,000 kilometers from new. That is just 14,000 miles on the odometer. The car looks to be in spectacular condition. That's because the paint is newer than the car is. At one point, JP, a previous owner painted this car silver and then drove it and enjoyed it for a while. But somewhere down the line, somebody realized that this car would be worth a whole hell of a lot more money if it was put back to its original Rosso Corsa. Thus, the car has been repainted. The car was originally designed to take Magnum PI's Ferrari 308 and modify the car and homologate the car to do Group B rally racing. So they did an enclosed sort of a Coke bottle shape with a wider track front and rear, and they took this motor and basically twin turbocharged the thing so that it could go out and compete with the likes of the Porsche 959 and all the crazy Lancia rally cars and things from all over the world. Group B had a major accident in which there were some massive deaths, and thus the regulations that were largely unlimited for Group B were essentially cut immediately. So while this car was in its development stage and going into production, Group B went away. And so Ferrari never actually raced the 288 GTO. They wound up just selling 272 to customers, and the cars have been considered one of the holy grail and highly collectible cars of the modern era, certainly of the young timer movement. JP, and a couple of interesting things. I'll let you guys talk about BAT and the car for a minute, and then we've got some very interesting stuff to cover with the numbers on this car in particular, okay?
Yeah, okay, so look here. I'm trying to bring this back up. We got a little bit of video. Look, I think the most interesting thing about this car isn't so much how much it might go for, because that's going to be very interesting. Everyone's anticipating a really strong finish. This car has 250,000 views on this particular listing already, and it still has 2 days to go. This auction is getting so much attention. Everyone's talking about it. The real question I have for you guys, maybe more importantly than the actual bidding and the numbers, is why would anyone freaking bother selling their car at a live auction anymore with the huge fees and the nonsense of traveling and shipping the cars and all the potential for downside. Is this the type of auction that is going to completely change the paradigm? What do you think there, Chris?
I don't think it's going to change the market for super high-end cars, but this thing's going to prove that these online platforms can do it. And I don't know how many bids are on it right now, but there are a handful of guys that can afford this car, right? I don't know how many watches it's got. So if someone should walk away with this car, and are there 5 guys that are real on it? Or are there 10?
Yeah. So for
know.
context, JP and I do a smash up job with Porsches when we list them on Bring a Trailer. So your average car, JP, is lucky to get a few thousand views and a few hundred watchers. When JP and I use our social network to our advantage and great assets that JP produces and really good content, we tend to succeed really at above market value when we have 15,000 views and at least 1,500 watchers. Then we usually get somewhere between 50 and 100 comments, and we normally get over 24 bids, and we normally get a retail number for whatever car it is. This car has 250,000 views and over 6,000 watchers. And it's a car that nobody can afford. So that's outstanding. I mean, it's really the marketing that this car is picking up, BAT's success. It's all culminating in this really exquisite car, exquisite listing.
Yeah, I'm Deeb. That was good context that you put that number in there, because look, this car, I really do think that this, I didn't say it's going to change the values of this car. I said it's going to change how people buy them and how people sell them. Why the F would you bother risking your car and bringing it, just going through all the trouble of going to something like Monterey? You get some tourist spilling something on it. You got to pay 10%, and the buyer's got to pay 10%, and all the other costs. I think that's just antiquated at this point. I am really excited. Yeah. I think this particular auction is going to change things. On top of that, Deeb, what is it going to bring?
JP, I want to just color in what you're saying. So what JP is saying, if you take a $100,000 car and you go to RM Sotheby's at Monterey or Amelia Island, they charge 12% to the buyer and 10% to the seller. So on that $100,000 asset that's hammered, let's just call it a Porsche 911, the buyer's paying $112,000 for the car, and the seller is only taking home 90. And the platform, which is in this case RM Sotheby's that I'm using as an example, they're making $22,000 off of your asset. Now, if you take that same 911 and you run it on Bring a Trailer, the buyer will pay a 5% premium, so they're going to pay $105,000 for that car, and the seller is going to pay a $99 listing fee. And in most cases, he'll have spent somewhere between $500 and $1,500 for photography and a detail and his assets. So he'll net basically $98,000 on that car. So it's a completely different set of maths, JP. So it's a really great point that you make.
I mean, and I get it that going to those auctions is fun, and if you're the baller type that has a car like this, you want to go, and that's one of the ways that you get to show off and flex. But I think more and more buyers of cars like this don't want to deal with that. A lot of people that have, I don't know about you guys, but most of the people that I know that have the most money want no one to know it, right? There's people that flex, and then there's the real rich people that are like, nope. And I think that cars like this is bringing something to market online where a seller can give it to a broker, someone to represent the car, like Veloce or I don't know, the bid nerds. The seller doesn't even have to deal with it. It's like, yeah, go, knock yourself out. Somebody give me a check.
White glove.
Yeah.
Totally.
What's this car going to bring?
All right, JP. So really interesting here. We're going to jump into the numbers for the 1985 Ferrari 288 GTO. JP, Classic.com's average for the car on just 8 public sales that we're aware of from the summer of 2022 till basically the first quarter of 2026. That average selling price for a GTO, one of 272, is $5.8 million. And JP, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sales at that $4 million mark between 22 and 24. But earlier this year, JP, we had one car at Gooding in January in Paris sell for $11 million. We had one car at Mecum in Kissimmee in January, and that sold for $8.5 million. And then we had another one also in Paris in January sell for $7 million. Now, that one that sold for $7 million, JP, had 15,000 miles on the odometer, and our car has 14,000 miles on the odometer. That's our comp at $7,009,541. The other two cars that sold for more money were both at 1,000 miles. They were in the wrapper, essentially. So, JP, with similar mileage and in the same calendar year, we've had a car that has crossed the block and hammered with buyer's premium for $7 million. JP, our car is doing really effing well. It's sitting at $6,752,000 on 23 bids, and it's got 2 days left to go until it hammers. JP, I think everybody's aiming for that comp, but I think this car is going to do better than that one, despite having almost identical mileage and a complete repaint twice. I still think this car, because the whole world is watching, JP, I'm going to go $7,500,000 at Hammer and say that it sells at my number. JP, we're at 6.7. We've got 2 days to hammer. I'm at 7.5. What is your bid?
Yeah, shout out to Mario throwing down the $49.99 super chat. Thank you, Mario. We appreciate that. Maybe I'll be able to bid on this particular car because of that money, and we'll just make it the bid nerd kind of like pool car. Deeb and I will share it. Okay, yeah, I think that this car, because of this car is just getting so much exposure. That 250,000 views is only going to climb. I think this car is way more people know that this car is for sale than that last one that comp that you were talking about, Deeb, and I think that is going to equal money because knowledge equals a payoff here. The sellers and the seller knew to do it this way instead of the old school way. The new money, the young timers that really want this kind of stuff and have the dough for it are going to pay for it, are happy to pay for it. I'm going to say $8,880,000 and hand it off to Chris. What do you think?
In the state of the Ferrari market right now, it's so crazy. I mean, I'm gonna have to get close to you. I'm gonna say 8.7 million.
8.7 going right under me. Ben saying throwing down another $10. We're that much closer, Deeb. I don't even know if I think my credit card would burn up just for the if I tried to make the minimum bid.
Yeah, little context, JP. So at $7 million for that car that sold in Paris, let's say instead of let's say that the buyer didn't pay 12%, but he paid 10%. That would put him at $700,000. But for cars that are that big, they do a big discount. So let's say it's 5%. That means he's paying $350,000 off of that net hammer before he gets made whole. Yeah. The buyer who buys this car at JP's number of $8,880,000 is capped out at $7,500.
Yeah,
that's not even reflective of the tip you would give to the lady that gave you your paperwork at RM Sotheby's. You know what I mean?
You can't buy a wheel for that.
So the maths they're not even apples and oranges, JP. So your take about this being the new place, if this car hammers for anywhere near JP's number and sells at that, I think the big tops are in a world of hurt coming to Monterey.
Yeah, well, and then you add to that, Deeb, that, whoever bought that car in France, it's probably not staying there. That's a shithole country. Nobody's keeping a car like that there. You're going to have to pay another, however many tens of thousands of dollars to get it over here. What's the likelihood that the buyer was from, actually Europe? I mean, chances are they're probably Ukrainian or something if it winds up staying there.
Possibly. It's really good that they're there. But this car has a global audience. It's a really great point. I will point out that your shithole country is the number one ranked FIFA World Cup team in the this year's tournament. I know you've been paying close attention.
Yeah, I know. There's soccer. That's like going to a junior high dance and watching all the guys run around not scoring. Yeah, whoopity-doo. You might even hear some cheering, like, because the Mexicans, they're watching we're in the container park, and on the big screen, they're playing the game right now. And I'm like, is that in the, like, I had to do a sound check a minute ago, if anybody noticed. All right, guys, what do you think the Ferrari is going to bring? And will the result end the in-person live douche fest that is Monterey? Let us know what you think in the comments, and let's move on to the next car. What do we got?
All right, JP, I wonder if we should do a little war room on Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. to watch that lot close, because it could be fireworks. So just something to consider, JP. All right, speaking of deja vu, JP, couldn't help but notice this really interesting 1995 Porsche 911 Carrera Cabriolet with a 6-speed manual, showing 76,000 miles, but true mileage unknown. The car looks beautiful in aventurine green metallic and is listed here, JP, out of San Rafael, California. JP, weren't you out here in California test driving a car like this just a couple of weeks ago? A car that had been listed on Craigslist did not sell and now comes to market on PCar Market. JP had me take a look at this car, and all I'm doing is setting the table. There's no animosity here. When I went and looked at the car with Noah, I thought the car was pretty cool, and I said, JP, I think you should put an offer on it. JP decided not to. A few weeks later, decided to come out and test drive the car. JP test drove the car and decided to pass on it. And now the car comes to market. So the question I'm going to leave everybody with, as JP gives his opinion of the car, having test driven it and examined it himself, and this car did need a little bit of help. It had paint work. The convertible top opened and closed, but the motor didn't work. True mileage unknown. The guy thought it had closer to like 130,000 miles on it. But the question is, as we look at this car and we give our bids, should JP have purchased this car? That's the question. It's got to be burning through everybody's gray matter as we review it. I like the car. I said yes. JP passed twice, and there's plenty of good reasons why he did that. But god dang, JP, this car looks really good. So JP, your thoughts on the 993 C2 Cabriolet? It's a 95, which just counts for something. It's not a Vario Ram car, and I think JP likes that more and still didn't pull the trigger. JP, any regret, or do you want to just get into what you saw it kept you away?
Big regret, right? I mean, look, I would love this to be in my parking garage right now, just because I would have been using it. But then again, I don't know, right? It's like when you fly out somewhere and you see the car, you get that gut check. You have that. It's like that immediate, like, yes or no. And as we were pulling up, I was like, dude, like half the panels are different colors. You know, when we went and looked at it, it was in bright sunlight, and it was really, really apparent that there had been repaints. Like the shroud underneath the windshield, completely different color from the hood and a completely different color from the fender. In these photos, you just cannot tell. And aventurine green is one of those colors that really hides it well. You can almost tell in this photo, but that just really looks like an artifact of the photograph, not so much, the color of the car.
The angle of that panel versus the one that's next to it, and an overcast day. When Noah and I looked at it, it was overcast, and when JP and I went and test drove the car, it was bright sun. It was very different.
And then you get in the car, and the brakes were making. There was serious shake. There was almost a tick going into second gear and kind of third gear. Like the box just felt sloppier than I would liked it to have. And the fact is that the odometer didn't work. It's like, I don't have a problem with a TMU car, right? That's pretty common on these old Porsches or whatever. But you look at the Carfax and you go back like literally 8 years, and that was the number that it was at. So this guy's been driving for years without fixing the thing to do is fix it immediately and keep a record of that. I think, frankly, if I had to bet, I would bet that this car has 200,000 miles on it. I have nothing to substantiate that with, but it just doesn't make sense that this is a 150,000-mile car like the seller is alluding to. He says, I think it probably has about that many miles. Now, here's one other thing, too, that can, because you buy the buyer, right? I actually spoke to the owner when we looked at the car. It was his brother that was delivering it. When I spoke to the owner, he was talking about how he's an engineer, and he had rebuilt the AC. There's on these 993s and 964s, they have an AC control unit that is notoriously bad. There's all these little servos that open and close the little flaps and doors for the HVAC system. And he was telling me how he went through and soldered everything and redid everything because he's an engineer and he's a perfectionist and he does all that stuff. I'm like, you went through that much trouble dealing with the flaps and the AC and stuff like that, but you didn't bother to fix the odometer? Something doesn't add up, man. This is just like, that just, I don't know. What do you guys, what do you think about that? Would you have walked away, Chris, or would you have bought the car?
I don't think I would have bought it. I would say there's a number you would buy it at. I don't know what that number would be.
Yeah, the number that I was thinking was too much. Or maybe, I don't know. We'll find out here in a couple of days, and if I'm going to be kicking myself in the butt. I think the big problem is that I'm just a Gen Xer. We give boomers a hard time, but really Gen Xers have the same kind of hangups. I can't get my brain around the idea that a TMU 993 cab with a bunch of little problems is a car that's over $50,000. This, to me, my brain still says 35 grand. This is a convertible, for crying out loud. Deeb, what's it going to bring?
All right, JP. So our car is currently sitting at $25,250 on 5 bids, and it closes tomorrow. JP, our friends at Classic.com remind us that the 993 Cabriolet, a C2 manual Cabriolet, is typically a $66,000 car. JP, I'm going to put my bid at $52,000. And say that actually, I don't actually think it's going to get there. I don't know why I picked that number. So JP, I'm going to go. I think this car hammers at 46,993 and FTSs at that number. But we'll see if it winds up in the deal tank or not. JP, 46.99. It's at 25. I don't think it's going to double in value by hammer. I just don't think PCar is going to get it with these assets.
If this car were on BAT, it would bring 55 for sure. I don't know why this guy didn't just go there. All right. Yeah. I mean, dude, right? I mean, there's no reason as much as I don't think it's worth 55 grand. That's how much it would bring on BAT. This guy not going there just makes me think that he wanted to, I don't know, maybe BAT, reserve. Maybe he tried BAT and they were like, well, I mean, even if it was 55,000, BAT would probably be like, we're only going to give you a $40,000 reserve on this thing, because of the TMU and all the other issues. So he's probably like, oh, screw that, I'm going to PCar market. So I'm going to go, what was your number? 46?
46,993.
I'm going under you. I'm going to go 45,993. I don't mean to be cute, but that was kind of where I was at. Chris, what do you think? Over or under?
I'm going to go for 56 grand. I think y'all are going to think I'm crazy, but the guy that's going to buy it didn't see the car.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and he's going to be disappointed when he does. And that
it's happens. Not the first time we're going to say that tonight, Carmine. That here's a car that we saw in person. And we'd be like, that's not a $56,000 car sitting there. It could be.
If you spend, bringing it up on Tiptronics for pulling 60 grand.
Yeah, if you spend,
if it's under 50 grand, it ought to come to New Orleans.
You gonna buy it? You gonna buy it, Chris? For
if it's under 50,000, I think you can bring that car up to a level that it'll be worth.
I honestly, if the number were in the low 40s, I would live with all this stuff. But just where it was like, and he just wasn't playing ball past that number. All right, what do you guys think? Let us know. Will I be kicking myself in the butt tomorrow, or is, like I said at the top of the show, knowledge king, and it pays to know what you're doing? Did I know what I'm doing? Probably not. All right, what's the next car on the list, Deeb?
All right, JP, we're going to go over to Cars and Bids and take a look at a 2016 BMW M4 GTS. Our car is one of 828 M4 GTSs made and is showing just 8,000 miles. The car is equipped with the pretty rare M carbon ceramic brake package and is listed on a clean Maryland title out of Milford, Maryland. JP, here's one of those cars that came when BMW lost the plot and started calling the M3 the M4 for no apparent reason. And JP, this was the best of that generation of the M3. It's the GTS, but they were calling this car the M4. And I just feel like this car should be special and should be valuable, and it's not, because it is truly the poster child of BMW losing the plot. And that's why I wanted to kind of cover this car. This car should be $250,000, and JP, it won't even bring six figures. Your thoughts on the M4 GTS?
Let's hear. I know this is, sometimes we call this a game show. It's kind of like The Price is Right, but what's the game show where I just go pass? I don't care. I don't care. Do not care. There's nothing about this car. This is the kind of car that if I won in a raffle, I'd be like, just give me the check. I don't even want to drive it. I don't even want to look at it. Who the F cares? Who cares? Chris, what do you think of the M3, 4, whatever BMW? I just don't want any brain power in trying to figure out BMW's nomenclature anymore. It's just a waste of time.
This car is going to shock y'all. You know, they're water injected. And there's a following for this car, believe it or not. I mean, I think there are people out there that want these things. It may not be me or you, but it's somebody's going to own this car, and it's going to bring real money.
The thing is, you say it's going to shock me, but I guarantee you it's not, because I don't care. Like, I'm not even going to be paying attention. I don't care if it gets $1 million or $50,000. It's like, oh, great. It's all right, Deeb, what is it going to bring?
All right, JP. So here's what I'm talking about. I think that this car, one of 800 with extra high performance and a limited thing, the whole thing, in BMW's M3 history, this should be a $200,000 to $250,000 car. But our friends at Classic.com remind us that the 2016 M4 GTS is only worth $93,000 in the secondary market. This car is sitting here at $62,000 on 13 bids, and it closes tomorrow, and it's a featured listing. But the only thing I think that's going to be shocking, Chris Carbine, is that this car will not break $100,000. So my bid for this car is $88,003. I'm going to go $88,003. It's at $62 now. I think it picks up another $26 and sells, but it's a shockingly good value for a car that should be worth more than twice as much, whatever it is today. JP, it's at $62. What's your bid?
Non-stopper. Look, I think this is the first time we've ever seen a thumbs down on the video during the live cast. I really pissed off Non-Stopper. He says, "Yeah, you care about ancient overpriced Porsches?" Yes.
Yes.
The answer is yes. Yes, I do, because they're actually going to be worth something in the future. They're fun to drive. This thing is just, I mean, this is like talking about an old iPhone. You know how you open your drawer and there's all the old electronics that you don't use anymore and were interesting at the time and maybe made sense then, but now are just completely obsolete and useless? That's what this car is to me. This is just an old piece of electronics that you find in the bin at the back of a Value Village. And it's on Cars and Bids. But I do agree, there is a bunch of people that actually give two shits about these. I'm not one of them, clearly. But some idiot will pay. What was your number, Deeb?
88.
I'll go $79,003 for an M3, because it's a fucking M3 BMW.
Yep.
All right, Chris.
I did the same thing.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to go in 89.
Getting demonetized.
89 is going to take the over, and all the real estate above it. He knows how to play the show. Absolutely.
It's got the Dodge Charger treatment to the front bumper there, where they don't take the protective sticker off the front. I mean, that's the kind of person that's buying these at this point. I mean, it's just like fill the trunk full of vape, whatever. All right, moving on something that somebody might give a crap. This next car. All right, who gave us the thumbs down? Who was that? I put his thing up here and I lost it already. I wanted to shout him out again. I'm so bummed I lost it. All right, but here we go. Here's a car that I care more about than that M3. Take it away, Deeb.
All right, JP. Yuri introduced us to a friend of his that is a coffee maker in the East Bay over there in Oakland, JP. And his mother and father bought this 1994 Mercedes-Benz E500.
Well, you're not even... Look up! Yeah. We're on the wrong car!
No,
You
you're
got
on the
the
wrong car.
Dodge on
I'm on the
there.
wrong
We
car.
moved-
All right, let's do
we
this one
moved-
really
yeah.
quick, and then we'll do the one you're talking about because it's up.
All right,
we,
JP.
We teased it.
I picked out the 1989 Chrysler TC by Maserati with a 5-speed manual and 39,000 miles on the clock, running no reserve on Bring a Trailer because, JP, one of the first cars we ever covered 250,000 cars ago when you did that LeBron with those great assets that you and Lee Patet captured. And that car, we're still friends with that guy, right? The guy that bought it.
We are, yeah. He shows up
Yeah.
to he always shows up to my New Year's Eve parties. He flies in, brings some, trashy chick and brings me cool gifts, gets completely blotto. Everyone's like, where'd he go? Where does he go? And then he's gone and he's like, I'm at the Circa. I'm on there playing Thanks, man. And then we see him in Vail. All right. Yeah. Sorry. What's a silly thing? These are so... Look, they're shitty. These are not great cars, but I like this car more than the M4. The LeBron version isn't much different. The front wheel drive. Is this a manual, Deep?
Yep, 5-speed.
It is a manual. Yeah, I mean,
It is.
Yeah, it is.
How about the opera window?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Portal. 200 horsepower and ball sack leather. I mean, JP.
It's just the most popular station on the satellite radio. If you get a car that has satellite radio, it's always Yacht Rock, right? That's the only channel anyone ever clicks on. And this car is the living embodiment of Yacht Rock.
Yacht Rock.
Dee, what's it going to bring?
All right, JP.
Thurston Howard.
It's sitting at $6,000. Classic says they sell for $7,000. This car is on BAT running no reserve. I think it's going to hammer for $8,000.
I'm going to go 9,500. Hand it off to Chris. What do you think?
I'm going to go 85.
85. All right. This is getting heat. We got some heat going on the Chrysler LeBron. All right. It is a very fun car to drive the strip on, let me tell you. All right. Let's get to something real. This next car, the one that Dee was teasing, this is actually something pretty interesting. And this will really tell us something about knowledge will pay. What do we got?
JP, Yuri introduced us to the owner, the son of the owners of this car last fall. It is a 1994 Mercedes-Benz E500 that his mother and father purchased in Germany, brand new. Drove it around for a few months in Germany and then sent the car, or France, I think, actually, they're France. And then they brought the car stateside, and it's been here in the Bay Area. It's a one-owner car its entire life and is now showing about 150,000 miles on the odometer. It's listed on Bring a Trailer out of Alameda, California. JP, I really liked this car when I saw it. I was excited about representing it, and I spoke to you all winter about potentially buying this car and fixing it up for myself. It's got an aftermarket wing on the back. The headliner was sagging. The leather was pulling in the door pockets, and there were scratches on every panel. What's interesting, JP, is that the car did not come to us. The parents decided to list it with somebody else, which broke my heart because I wanted to do a really good job. The person, Carlone, that is listing this car for the owners, started his account to list this car. So he is brand new on BAT. And JP, he has barely 100 photos in his bucket. His photo count, if you didn't notice, is just 108. He did not highlight any of the scratches on or the quality of the paint. He didn't do the headliner or the door pockets, which are still pulling. There was a check engine light that I think has been rectified. But this is a very meh listing. And yet, JP, this car will probably still bring the money because it's a one owner. It's a great colorway. And because he didn't disclose everything, if he doesn't get crushed in the comments, somebody's going to overbid on this thing and be then, kind of shocked when the car arrives because it's not a full disclosure listing. So I'm watching this one very carefully. I'm very interested to see what happens here because if it does really well, it's not because of a great effort or experience that was put forth. It's because they just didn't tell the whole story. JP, your thoughts on the E500?
These have always just really how neat are these? This shape, I love this era of the Mercedes and this whole idea of the Porsche thing having to do with the suspension and all that kind of stuff just adds to the whole romanticism of this car. And yet this listing is just so piss poor. This is exactly why you hire someone like the Bid Nerds to represent your car, because every car has a story and the audience needs to hear that story. This car is not going to get that story out to the potential buyers who will pay the premium for the car. This is just a piss poor listing of an amazing car. This is the exact opposite of how you represent something as cool as this. Chris, what do you think of the E500?
What's the right one of these worth? Let's just say this car were very nice with 130,000 miles. Is it a $70,000 car?
150,000 mile, one owner silver black car. Yeah, should bring close to $50,000.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So
we're not ready for a bid yet. We're not ready for a bid yet. Deeb, what's it going to bring?
All right, JP. So here's some interesting numbers to regurgitate. The 500E came out in 1992. So the 92 and the 93 are 500Es. Those bring 46 grand. But the E500, JP, has a couple of technical updates. And although it only came to the States for one more year, those cars bring a lot more money. An E500 like ours, Classic.com tells us they sell for $63,000. JP, this car is sitting at $28,500. And as I've noticed, all the hard questions are starting to be asked. And this person who is answering them can't even type in English. When they type and you read what he's writing, you read it in broken English. So it sounds like the person who has listed this car, English is their second language, and I feel for them. It's kind of a bummer. JP, our car is sitting at 28.5. That comes to us by way of 6 bids. And I don't like this car. In my mind, this car should have brought 45 to 50 grand. I think it's going to struggle here. It's going to hammer for $38,500, and I think the owners want over 40 grand for it. So I don't know what's going to actually happen. But 38.5, I don't know if it sells for that or not. But I'll be surprised if this listing and the inability to answer the questions that are being asked will result in a hammer over 40 grand. I don't think it'll happen. We're at 28.5, JP. I think he gets 10 more and FTSs. Where are you at?
10 more at what? So 20. So you're at 38 grand?
38.5.
Yeah, I think in spite of the crappy listing, I still think it breaks 40,000, but just barely. I'll go $40,500. It's funny, it's got Italian stickers all over it. That kind of goes with the whole idea that English is the guy's second language, that he doesn't understand the culture, and he doesn't understand the auction platforms, and that he doesn't even know that he could have hired the bid nerds to make at least $10,000 to $15,000 more. My first Cayenne manual had Swiss stickers all over it from the guy I bought it from. Like, people who are from some countries, they just get really into it, and you gotta love people who are proud of their heritage. But I don't know, Italian stickers on a German car, is that going to help it? Is that going to hurt it? What do you think, Chris? What's this going to bring?
I think it's going to bring 39.5.
Man, how did I wind up being the high guy? And it's not going to sell at that number?
I don't think so. I mean, I think the reserve's going to be a lot higher in that car.
All right, let us know what you guys think.
So, JP, I had recommended all kinds of things like fix the leather, fix the headliner, fix the scratches, remove the rear wing. I was recommending all these things that try and make a run at 45 to 50 grand, and they didn't want to spend the money. And the irony, and then of course take those stickers off. JP, the irony is they're Italian stickers on a German car, and the family are French. I just don't get it.
See, people in the whole country, they don't even know what sticker to put on their damn car. All right, let's get to one more car. Actually, before we get to one more car, I'm going to throw one more commercial at us, and we'll get the last car right after this. Hey guys, you're probably looking at your watch and wondering if Bid Nerds will ever end. So you better talk to our friends at Our Smiths to make sure your Rolex, Tag Heuer, AP, or any fine timepiece is in tip-top shape. Our Smiths, fine Swiss repair. All right, you guys been drinking your hippie sips tonight, man? It's 4th of July. I feel like I should have given my dog some, poured this into their food or whatever with all the fireworks going off last night. Did you guys have a great 4th of July? I hope you did. We did. Deeb, what'd you guys do for 4th of July? You had Chris Carbine in town.
No, Carbine was in Monterey with his lovely wife, Ann. They were enjoying the company of their friends in Cartown, USA. My wife went camping, and I was home with the dogs on the couch. I did not do diddly, and it was quiet.
Were they
quiet.
freaking out because of all the fireworks in the neighborhood?
No, it's illegal in Marin. It'll all catch fire, so there's no fireworks.
Oh, that's right.
Here.
You're in one of those places where people actually like listen to the. It's totally illegal here in Vegas, and it looked like freaking Iran
Lebanon.
out there.
Exactly.
Lebanon, exactly. I mean,
it looked like JP's apartment moved to the Strait of Hormuz for one
That's
day.
right. It was Scud Missile Central. All right, one last car, and then we'll get out of here, guys. What's this last car?
One comment, JP. We picked up $5 more from Gary Lee, who took particular affinity for the ball sack leather reference on that Maserati by Chrysler.
Well, we should probably shout out Nonstopper, who gave us a thumbs down because of my shitting all over his M4. He's like, hey, can we get an M4 CS next? And I'm like, yeah, bro. I like Nonstopper. I like the cut of your jib, bro. You're still here hanging out. That's awesome. Yes, send us a link the next time you see one. And this goes to everyone, not just in the Nerd Herd, but if you're watching the show, if there's a car listing that you would like the nerds to cover, reach out to us on Instagram. We have a little Instagram. Just like, send us some links because we just kind of wing it at the last minute. Can you tell? All right, one last car before we get out of here. What do we got, Deeb?
JP, if the Nerd Herd starts sending you all the cars for the show, can you just start doing the show by yourself? Asking for a friend.
Yeah, get someone else to do the thumbnails and the descriptions too. There's no AI app that can just do this show. I've tried. All right, what's this last car, Deeb? I'm already flipping through the pictures of it. Somebody got a wide angle lens. We are really excited about it. What the hell, idiot?
We're going to check out a 1972 DeTomaso Pantera that is showing just 9,000 miles on the odometer out of Peyton, Colorado. This is a fantastic Italian car that has a 351 Ford Cleveland and a 5-speed manual transmission. JP, this is the Italian car of your dreams. F that Ferrari 308 GTS and go get yourself a Pantera. It's just as Italian, but has Detroit muscle. Imagine, rebuilding that motor to 500 horsepower, how much fun this car would be. JB, you used to be able to pick up these cars for 40 to 60 grand. That has changed over the last handful of years. Our friends at classic.com now remind us that a Pantera from 1972 is a $116,000 car. This car is sitting at 70 grand, JP, and has 3 days to go. Your thoughts?
It's neat, and it's kind of like someone thinking that they're going to LS swap a Ferrari back before LS swapping was a thing from a factory. I love it. Chris, what do you think of the Pantera?
I love the Panteras. The small bump ones, I think it was 73 when they went to the black bumpers. I think these are more attractive. Is this car really a 9,000-mile car?
Well,
man,
I don't know.
If it is, it's a different story.
Dwayne Wick wants the garage in the background. I'm with him. That's a pretty neat spot. What's it going to bring, guys?
All right, JP. So the car's sitting at 70 grand. It's got 3 days to go. Listen, Carbine asked the question of the auction: is it really a 9,000-mile car? I tell you what, it's on Bring a Trailer as a 9,000-mile car. Therefore, my bid is that this car will double at Hammer from 70 grand today, JP.
Whoa.
In 3 days, this car is going to hammer for $140,000. What's your bid?
I'm going under. I think it's a really cool car, but the listing is not so great, and I'm a little worried about that 9,000-mile thing. I don't think it's true, and I think someone's going to flush that out. So I'm going to say 120. Hand it off to Chris.
I'm going to roll with $150.
Whoa!
Yep.
Going for it. I'm probably going to be really wrong.
They're guys that love these cars.
Yeah. And white's rare on that car. And I like the ways it's the devil's in the details, JP.
Yeah.
Look at the raised white letters on the tires. It's what every
the good
guy wants one. Yeah.
This is screaming for a race livery, right? Some big old meatballs on the side. I dig it. I dig it. That's like a blank palette. I love it. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out. Chris, Carbine, safe travels back to New Orleans. We'll be talking this week. And thanks to all of you in the Nerd Herd hanging out. We love you guys. We do the show for you, because of you. It really is fun doing the show because you guys are hanging out with us. Deeb, anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
Good night.
He says good night. My mouse broke at the you know what? I'm going to take us out with our new commercial instead. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Car nerds! Every collector car has a story. The question is, will buyers hear it? At Bid Nerds, we don't just photograph collector cars, we represent them. Auction management from beginning to end. From first impressions to final payment. From first photograph to the final handshake. from the first click to the final bid. Because every detail matters, every comment matters, every bid matters. Great cars deserve great representation. Bid Nerds, a happy ending for every auction.